The following podcast is a presentation of Project Entertainment Network.
Hey, we get talk some books, be with some good people. It'll be a fun time.
Well,
and
us, at any rate.
Yeah.
If you can't get good people, you can settle for us.
Right.
This is our new intro.
This is our new intro.
I think so,
Right.
yeah.
Welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach. With me, as always, is Michael Patrick Hicks.
Hello.
Matt Brandenburg.
What is up, people?
And a returning friend of the podcast, Villimey Mist.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us again.
It's my pleasure. I'm super happy to be back.
This is awesome. I was excited to hear you were coming back. It's like, sweet.
Yes.
It's rare that we have a returning guest, so this is very cool.
Yeah, we've had,
I feel so honored.
Usually once is enough, and they never want anything to do with it again. So
I don't know. Didn't Max Booth come back for a second time?
yeah, but he's a glutton for punishment.
That's true.
Yeah, he's a sadomasochist?
You're just a little.
He's a weird one.
He's not weird. What are you talking about?
And today we're going to be discussing Dark Side of the Room by Tyler Jones.
I almost was like, crap, I read the wrong book. Dark Side of the Rune. I did
Dark
not
Side of the
look for that
Rune. This is going to be some Nordic fantasy.
Yeah.
With the soundtrack written by the Monomarth.
Yeah, or Dragon Force, or Falconer, or,
Oh, amazing. That would be fun.
These are some deep cuts for me. I have no idea what the fuck any of you are talking about.
Monomarth is a Viking metal band. All their songs are about Vikings, and yeah.
Falconer is I think it's from Sweden, and it's also about Vikings as well.
Yep. So there you go. You got some Viking metal, and I'm sure you can find there's some pirate rock out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You got everything.
I mean,
Did
it's
you
a pretty
get-
long-lasting
there's-
niche, that whole Viking thing. They really stick with that.
They really do, yeah.
They really do.
Let that one go.
No. Just stick with it,
Exactly.
You gotta have your horns and your big boat. You're good.
We didn't have horns. That's just a stupid ass thing to add. I remember when I was working at the National Museum of Iceland, and a lot of people, they just were so disappointed that our helmets didn't have any horns, and I'm like, because that wasn't a thing.
You mean they didn't all look like Bugs Bunny with the horn?
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
I think it was just added. I think it was added due to this opera that was super popular at the time, like German opera or something. But we never had horns. We didn't see what's the point with them. There's nothing.
It does seem like that would be kind of unwieldy to run around with that on your head.
Yeah, I mean, what if you stumbled and you'd probably just impale yourself?
Or if there's trees around, they keep catching it, and you keep trying to keep it back up, and or if you forget where you put it, and you go to sit down and you sit on a horn, that's not fun.
No, and also it's just not practical. We use the horns just to drink beer out of it.
Exactly.
Which is a much better use of them.
Yeah, it's a much better use of it. So, myth debunked, guys. If you ever think about this is not true.
That's right. Don't listen to those people. No horns on your head. It just does not work.
Wow.
No, listen to the true Icelander who knows about this.
That's why there's no unicorns around anymore. Think about it.
Yep.
Horns.
Yes.
I mean, we slaughter them the minute we saw them.
we chop up their horns and they're.
Yep. And we used the horses just for slavery.
We use them for glue. It's cool.
We should look into adding an educational tag to our show now. We're dropping knowledge bombs. We're like the fucking
Staring into the abyss,
Mythbusters.
the more you know.
That's right.
You know, knowledge is power.
That's right. Like a black star going across the field.
Yes. Or like a monster
Rainbow of blood.
tentacles or something.
Yes. Oh, I love it. This makes me happy.
Me too. You know what else makes me happy?
No. Maybe.
Resident Evil.
Oh, I was going to say cocaine.
I've actually never done cocaine, Mike. How dare you assume I have?
I mean, you've done everything else. Why not? Why have you not done cocaine? Is there a reason? Is it just
No
a lack
interest.
of access?
Because as soon as you do it, you want to do it again.
Yeah, I honestly have no interest.
Okay, fair enough. You didn't want to get like the Stephen King career going?
Make Max Overdrive
All right,
2.
now I gotta write a scene where these kids are having sex to get out of the sewer.
Oh God.
Fuck, I don't remember this book. Why am I writing it?
Yep. Or you
Or
know, the
cocaine into
cars are coming alive, and they're gonna, haunt this one diner that has a bunch of people in it.
Listen,
And
guys.
fuck it, I'm gonna direct it myself.
Yes. Green Goblin. Put him on a truck. He's great. An arcade machine hypnotizes people. I love it. Explain it. I don't need to explain it. Comets and robots and aliens. It all makes sense.
Honestly, Maximum Overdrive is like a so bad it's good movie.
Oh, I love it. I think
It's so out there.
It's so terrible that it's great.
like I want to write the sequel. I want Emilio Estevez in it, and then Martin Short's brother.
Where is he now? Is he doing anything right now?
A Mighty Ducks TV series, I think.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. I thought it was him.
I think he was doing a bunch of documentaries and then just kind of left acting to direct.
I mean,
Now
he's
he's back
doing
for the
better
Mighty
than his
Ducks.
brother. He seems to be doing better than his brother, so that's a good thing.
Hey, Charlie Sheen has tiger's blood. Don't knock it.
Yes.
Not till you try it.
What?
He's winning.
What is Tiger's Blood?
Did you sleep through that whole controversy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably some snake oil selling.
Charlie Sheen's office rocker. That's pretty much all you need to know.
That was one of the best celebrity interviews in my entire life.
Oh, God.
Better than Tom Cruise's interview with Oprah?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, man. Did he? What?
Not quite as good as the Mel Gibson racial rant slurs against his ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
Christian Bale yelling at a key grip lighting guy, that was a good one too. But
Dear God, that was just painful to listen to.
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
It's just,
Charlie
it made
Sheen
me,
one, that was a blast though.
it made me feel so bad for that poor person. I was like, oh, if I was a fly on that wall, I wouldn't be able to do anything. But man, that would be something to watch.
I gotta Google it again. I want to give it another listen.
Oh, my God.
We can edit into this episode somewhere.
Maybe he'll get mad at us and yell at us then.
I would love that.
Do I fucking interrupt your job? Do I tell you how to do your job?
Like, well, come on the show. Tell us what to do.
Yep.
Take that, Christian Bale.
Hello, Christian Bale.
I want you off the fucking set, you prick. Now, don't just be sorry. Think for one fucking second. What the fuck are you doing? Are you professional or not? Do I fucking walk around and rip that? No, shut the fuck up, Bruce. Do I want? No. No. Don't shut me up. Am I going to walk around and rip your fucking lights down in the middle of a scene? Then why the fuck are you walking right through? Da-da-da-da, like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know what Christian Bale's been up to. Interesting.
He played Dick Cheney recently, I think, for...
Oh, maybe that's what he did.
Oh,
That was a
yeah.
few years ago, though.
I don't know. Their time has no meaning.
Maybe
Yeah.
that took, maybe he went method so deep it's taking years to get him out of that.
Maybe
Dick
he's
Cheney.
still Dick Cheney.
Oh, God, that would be an awesome.
Yep.
Just sitting in his house trying to beat Dick Cheney.
He's out there shooting people by accident in the woods.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
may have to apologize to him for getting shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know who I am?
I'm Dick Cheney. I mean Christian Bale. I mean Dick Cheney. I don't know.
I don't know who I am anymore.
I'm Dick Bale.
I'm Dick Man.
Hey.
Oh,
He's
man.
Dick Man.
I'm Dick Man.
So it's a typo out of Duckman. They just decided to keep Dickman instead.
Yes.
Oh, Duckman. I love that show.
Duck Dodgers.
It was so funny. I used to watch that show when I was little, and I didn't understand a thing.
Are you professional or not?
I just saw like, oh, this is a wacky cartoon. Like it was like drawn almost like some of the like punk ones from What a Cartoon that was usually showed in Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just really dug the style, the drawing style, but I had no idea what it was about. I mean, I understood it, but at the same time, like, I don't get social commentary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 10. Why should I get that?
The fuck are you doing? What the fuck is it with you?
It's just funny. He's a duck and he's got a pig friend, and it's great.
Yep.
Well, it's like if you go back to a lot of those old cartoons when you're an adult, there's like so many jokes that went over your head. Like,
What don't you get about it? What don't you fucking understand?
I
Like,
thought you guys were talking about Darkwing Duck, and I am so lost right now.
No. Duckman.
Duckman.
What's his name?
Jason
George.
Alexander.
Yeah.
He talked as Duckman.
Oh, Costanza. Okay,
Yes.
I kind of remember that, but I don't.
He was
Not entirely.
a private investigator. So
Yeah, I don't remember.
This is going old. But did you guys watch the Rugrats when you were kids?
I
I
hated
was
that.
not a kid when that came out.
I was. That kind of was.
Because you're a young punk.
I usually change the channel. I watch Ren and
There's-
Stimpy and Rocco's
Ren
Modern
and Stimpy's-
Life.
Ren and Stimpy
Yes.
has some stuff that really got past there in the time.
Oh God, yeah.
There's a couple suicide jokes in the Rugrats.
Oh my God.
Oh God, really?
Because like in the early '90s, there was a doctor named Dr. Kevorkian. I'm pretty sure
yes.
some of you guys know. And he was someone who was like doctor-assisted suicide was kind of his thing that he was infamous for.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
grandpa's like,
Go
my
Michigan.
shoulder hurts. The grandpa in Rugrats with my shoulder hurts. Time to see Dr. Kevorkian.
He was one of our Detroit's claim to fame.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. And then they ran him out of business. Fuckers.
Aw.
We have, not to get controversial, but we have some amazing doctors in our state.
He did good work.
He did, yeah. I won't even go there.
Actually, Matt, you know this a bit more. You know the band The Suicide Machines?
Oh yes,
You know what
yep,
their original name was?
yep. Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machine.
Oh my God.
How great would it be if they got him to lead the lead singer? Though?
Oh
They got him to front the band.
That would be amazing.
Amazing.
Get Jeffrey Feiger on drums.
Oh, I could see them singing "New Girl."
That'd be hilarious. Anyway, besides this giant side tangent we just did,
I hope it was fucking good because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur.
welcome to Staring to the Abyss. We're going to give a full spoiler discussion of
The Dark Side of the Room.
The Dark Side of the Room by Tyler Jones.
Dark Side of the Moon.
But before we do that, we'd like to give a weekly kind of
Was that a
recommendation.
Yeah, that was my cat.
Aw.
Aw.
Hi, Kitty.
That's RoboCop.
Yes.
Sweet.
I apologize. You're probably gonna hear a lot of meow.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about part cat, part machine.
I had to stop what I was saying when Mike said that.
What?
Feeding
Part
it,
cat, part machine.
feeding it baby food, and it's prowling the streets of Detroit, killing punks.
Yep.
Oh man, I could just see that scene with Red from '70s Show and all those guys shooting him up.
Guns,
God.
guns.
I saw that damn movie when I was like 8 in the theater.
My mom rented it for me by accident because she thought it was a comic book movie like Batman because they had come out around the same time. I was a huge fan of the Michael Keaton Batman. She went to the video store and saw RoboCop, and she thought, "Oh, this will be a neat show for my 8-year-old to watch."
I mean, she's not wrong.
And then I put it on, and she walked away, and then like an hour and a half later, she comes back and she sees the guy coming out of the toxic waste. And then gets hit by the car and his head explodes on the windshield. She's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "RoboCop."
It's like so brutal.
Yeah.
I love every minute of it.
Like, you need to turn this off. I'm like, "This is the best movie ever, Mom."
Like, I'm almost done. Let me
It's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh man.
And I'm over there with like the Lawrence Boddicker.
Oh man. All right. Sorry. You can continue.
All right.
And obviously, none of this was as devastating on me as Grand Theft Auto, which forever destroyed my life.
It's forever the root of all the problems of Western society.
Yes.
Is Grand Theft Auto.
No idea how many hookers I've killed as a result of that game.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That joke is not going to work unless you follow me on Twitter like yesterday, and this episode's going to go live like
July.
True.
Like,
I will say before I get into the weekly recommendations part, I am amazed at how people thought I was serious. Those tweets.
It's just so hard. I mean, if you aren't, putting it right before you start tweeting like sarcasm,
Yes.
then people are not going to get it.
And you gotta put like the siren emojis in front of it.
Yeah.
Or like
claps,
like a wink.
Yep.
just make it extra cringe.
Anyway, Resident Evil.
Our
Resident
tweets
Evil
need to have trigger warnings on them now, I think.
You keep derailing us.
I decided to pick up Resident Evil Village.
Nice.
And I haven't got to the scary doll yet, so I'll let you know how that is, Matt. Right now I'm being chased around the castle by the giant vampire lady.
Now, is this the full game?
No, there's a lot to this game, actually.
So, like, they're just releasing it in parts?
Well, no, the Village is out as full, but, like, the stuff they've been advertising is, like, a small portion of the actual game.
Oh.
So it's a lot bigger.
Yes, I mean, I hear it only takes people about 10 hours to beat their first playthrough, so it's not super long. And if you play Resident Evil, that's like the typical length of a Resident Evil game. So the story for this one is you play as Ethan Winters, the same character from Resident Evil 7. He is now living in Europe with his wife and his daughter, and he's undergoing military training with the organization Chris Redfield works for.
Oh, okay.
And one day, a bunch of bullets fly through his window and hit his wife.
Oh.
And Chris Redfield walks into his house, shoots his wife in the head.
Oh, shit.
Goes upstairs, takes his baby, and Ethan says, "Chris, why?" And then Chris shoots Ethan. And then the game opens with Ethan coming to consciousness after falling out the back of a truck in some random European country.
Quick question, because it has been forever and a day since I played Resident Evil. Is Chris Redfield a bad guy now?
I'll let you know when I get further in the game.
Okay.
Wait.
The fuck did they do with this guy? Like,
I'll even back up one further. Who is Chris Redfield?
He was the main character of Resident Evil 1.
Okay. He was, the main character?
One of the two main characters of Resident Evil 1.
Oh, man. I don't even know.
He was, what was it, Star Labs he was working for?
He was part of STARS, like the Raccoon City Police Department Special Forces team.
Was that Thomas Jane in the movie? Wasn't Thomas Jane in the first movie?
I've never saw
Chris
the movie.
Didn't they just base it like loosely on the video game?
Yeah.
I've only
loosely.
I've only played the fourth one and I never finished that, so I don't know anything about it. I got to the end of the fourth one and then stopped. I don't know why.
The way this game's set up is Ethan's daughter's
Did you meet the big lady?
I did meet the big lady.
Nice.
She's chasing me right now.
Is she big?
She's like 9 feet tall.
Well, that is pretty big.
And she has these giant nails that extend like Wolverine claws, and she slashes you with them.
Maybe she's just chasing you out of the house because it's her house and you're just trespassing.
Exactly.
Oh, no, they're trying to sacrifice you.
What?
Oh.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Pretty sure, Matt.
So the way the game's set up is like Ethan's trying to find his daughter. There's this village that is beneath this castle, and this castle
underground,
is like below the hill. Like there's a castle up on the hill. There's a village that's beneath it. The village is kind of like a hub section that sends you to different parts of the world of the game. So the castle's the first part, and that's where the big lady is. But then there's other parts that they haven't revealed in the trailers yet, and I haven't got there yet. This is a bit more like Resident Evil 4 than the earlier ones, where it's more of an action approach, whereas 7 was more of like in-your-face, like fucked-up horror movie. This has a lot more action in it, and it's a bit easier to get by shooting enemies, whereas 7 had lots of resource management. This one's like, here, you want bullets? Here's some fucking bullets. You have a lot more options to defend yourself. The aspect that's like 7 and the remakes of 2 and 3 is the giant vampire lady chases you throughout the castle, and she is invulnerable until you get to the inevitable boss fight, which then you have to defeat her. So, like, as you're going through the castle, you have to be wary of your surroundings, and if she comes, you gotta fucking run, because she's gonna slash you up with the nails, and it's gonna hurt. And
so does she just show up randomly?
She does. And you got to book it when she shows up. And I got to say, if anyone here has played 7.
Nope.
Nope.
So 7, the main character is also Ethan Winters, like in this game. And the beginning of 7 involves his hand being cut off with a chainsaw.
So sweet.
And then his hand gets stapled back together. Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, is it not going to be put together on the chainsaw? Because then we would have Ash crossover and
his hand gets stapled back on, and this magical healing goop heals his hand.
That sounds good.
This game just puts him through so much more hand trauma, and I'm just like, I feel bad for the guy. It's like, in the beginning, he gets to the village, you're attacked by these werewolf-type things called lichens, and the lichen bites off 2 of his fingers and a chunk of one of his hands. Then, like, there's a
and he
part
can still
where
use his hands?
Well, he's only using one hand right now.
Okay.
And then there's a part where the vampire ladies throw his hands on these giant, like, knives, and they hang him up by his hands, and he has to rip his hands through the knives the healing group heals up the wounds again. And then there's one part where, and this begins when the giant vampire lady chases you, is you go to open the door with a lock, like you turn the key to open the lock, and you see these nails cut off his hand. And you have to run away with his hand, like, still on the doorknob. And you go back, and you have to hit a button, and he uses the healing goop again to reattach his hand to his body.
Oh, man. Whoever created this game was like, hands. Let's do everything we can to hands.
I'm like 2 hours into it, and I'm like, this guy is enduring so much hand trauma, and I just feel really bad for him.
Sounds like there's a lot of over-reliance on magical healing goop.
Yeah.
It's Resident Evil. What do you expect?
This is true.
I don't know. I haven't played it in so long. I don't remember magical healing goop all that much.
They introduced the healing goop in the 7th one, but even the other ones is like you get green herbs that heal your health.
Yeah.
A zombie bites me, I'll eat some green herbs and I'm okay again.
Yeah, it's one of those video game
zombie
concessions.
Bit me, I'm spraying first aid spray on my wounds and I'm okay again.
Yeah. Those are those video game concessions where it's just game logic.
Yeah. So far, I've
been shot in the face with a shotgun 27 times. If I just wrap it in gauze, I'll be okay.
It makes sense.
I can keep going.
Spray disinfected. I'll be fine.
Good.
So far, this game's a lot of fun.
Just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound.
I'll just eat a hamburger.
So far, I'm having a lot of fun. I recommend it. And if you're like me and you still just have a PS4, it plays completely fine on the PS4. No issues at all. And if you buy it on the PS4, you get an upgrade to the next-gen version whenever you get a next-gen console.
Well, that's cool.
I do like that they're doing that. That's a very nice concession that they're making instead of doing the usual corporate greed where, oh, hey, now that you got a new console, rebuy all this shit.
Yeah, so they'll give you an upgrade for the next-gen version. But so far, it's a lot of fun, and I'll give you a report once I beat it. I hear it gets really fucked up, so I'm kind of excited, also kind of nervous, because 7 got really fucked up, and I hear this gets more fucked up, so
Nice.
We'll see where it goes. Mike, what about you?
Well, I have been super fucking burned out this past week, so I didn't do much. I was on vacation from work. I read Dark Side of the Room, which we'll be talking about today, and it kind of took me fucking forever to get through because I just didn't want to read anything. Wasn't any fault of the book. I just didn't want to sit down and give my attention to anything. I kind of just fucked around and started playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's a good game.
Yeah, but now I just want to form a gang and have cocaine gum and steal horses.
What is happening? Welcome to video game talk.
Right? I did like a mini Terminator marathon because apparently I didn't see the last 2 movies, so I watched those. Those were pretty fun. I don't really quite get all the shit Genesis got. I don't know why everyone hated on that one so much. It was all right, but
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the new cast, there are no Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn, but they were serviceable.
Yeah.
How
many Terminator movies are there now?
This was like number 7, I think, was the last one. The last one was either 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first 3.
Well, you can get Terminator Salvation. I think that's the one where Christian Bale had his rant and breakdown about the lighting guy.
Am I gonna walk around and rip your fucking lights down?
He's actually in a Terminator movie? That's crazy.
Yeah,
that happened.
Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, he played John Connor as an adult.
Yeah, it was like the whole movie was the future war.
Yeah.
So you got to follow the resistance for a bit.
I see.
I never saw that movie either, Matt, so don't worry.
I would recommend it. I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed that.
I have actually liked the majority of the Terminator movies that have come out.
Same.
I know there's a lot of hand-wringing about that, but I like them.
I just always forgot that they were out. And I can't find them on anything, so I just like, well, one day.
I watched this last one, Dark Fate, and apparently that came out like 2 years ago, and I have, thanks to COVID, I have like completely lost an entire year. I have no idea what happened in 2020. Like, it was just like a year of nothing. Everything paused. One thing that finally helped me break my little reading slump was the newest novella from Brian Keene called With Teeth.
You finished that one, didn't you?
I started it Friday and then woke up and finished it Saturday morning.
Nice.
So it's a really quick read. It's a novella. It's about 100 pages.
Okay.
It also has 2 of his short stories in it that are connected to the overarching vampire narrative that he's doing in this corner of his labyrinth mythos.
Okay.
So the With Teeth is about 80% of the Kindle edition, and then the last 20% are divided between 2 short stories. This is the first long-form vampire work that Keene has written, and it is a fucking blast.
I can't wait to read that one. I have it on my Kindle as well. I got like a advanced reading copy.
Nice. Yeah. I direct ordered it from the publisher because they were releasing the ebook early.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. You had to wait until June for it. So if you're, well, fuck it, I need something quick, and Brian Keene always delivers for me. So I figure this was kind of a no-brainer to get through. And it was like the first time in 2 or 3 weeks that I've like clung to a book and just didn't want to stop reading. And at 100 pages, the sucker just flies by. It's really, really fast.
Nice.
The main character is Frank. He and his blue-collar Appalachian friends are hurting for money pretty badly because of the economy. West Virginia is taking a pretty significant downturn. Their hours at Walmart are getting slashed in the name of corporate greed. And they decide that they're going to follow in their great-grandfather's footsteps and set up their own little illegal operation, but instead of doing the grandfather's moonshine Prohibition era recipe, they're going to break bad and do some meth because that's becoming like the number one trade in West Virginia.
True.
That's like the primary source of income in Appalachia. So they decide to head over to where Grandpa had his distillery back in the day, and they end up getting into this fairly dark and pretty desolate hollow out in the woods. And one of their buddies is a cave diver, so he decides he wants to go and take a look at this cave, and he pokes his head in, takes a few steps in, and then just starts screaming for bloody mercy.
Oh.
And then we're off to the races. The last half of the book is just really pedal to the metal, action pack, run for your life or die kind of shit. So
nice.
It's a blast. The vampires, Keene, through his narrator, Frank, makes it very clear at the beginning that these are not the romanticized vampires of modern lore. Like, they're not well-dressed, high-cultured, sexy, sparkling creatures who are just looking for love and romance. These things are very, very vicious. They're predatory and rabid and very hungry. They're more like sharks than Lestat.
That's a good description.
Yeah.
So these things are just completely evil, vicious creatures. It's more of a creature feature than a vampire. It's just these creatures happen to be in that vampire mold.
So it's kind of like the creatures, like the vampire creatures in 30 Days of Night.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, or Blade 2, kind of.
Yeah, or Blade 2,
okay, sweet.
Oh, I love those vampires in Blade 2.
Yeah, these things are awesome, and I do hope we get to see more of them, which is rare for me and vampires.
Well, maybe he'll write some more shorts. We'll see what happens.
Maybe he will. He does a really good job of nailing. There's a couple themes operating in here between being trapped both by these vampires but also by their economic circumstances.
It's like they're driven to desperation.
Yeah, capitalism kind of takes on its own vampiric role in here in the way it feeds off of these blue-collar workers, and they can never make a living wage on their own. So they rely on welfare in addition to their part-time jobs, and no health benefits or vacation time or any of that good stuff that you should have. But Keene has some neat things to say. He doesn't belabor the point. At only 100 pages, he gets in and gets out pretty quickly, but he explores his topics with really good precision. I dug the hell out of this book a lot.
You're making me so excited to start reading it. I probably might do it this evening.
Yeah. I bought a physical copy that's being mailed, so I'll hopefully get it soon.
Cool. Well, quit wasting your time on here. Go read it.
I don't have it yet.
Right. Because I won that too, and I need to read it.
So Matt, what about your recommendations?
All right. So I last week had started talking about Thrall, Mary Sangiovanni. I finished it yesterday. That was super good. I won't go into too much because we talked a lot about it last week, but loved the way it turned out. Carpenter, the character of Carpenter in that book is absolutely amazing, and just what she ends up doing, where it goes, was not what I expected, but it went in an awesome way. I love the concept of what that town actually is and what that town meant. So, yes, fully on board. Definitely going to hunt down some more of her work because I loved the style and everything about it was great. But what I will talk about is I've started the last 2 nights on Shudder. They have volume 2 of In the Search of Darkness, which is a huge documentary all about 80s horror movies. Both of them. So there's already one volume out. Well, and I guess both of them are out now. But the first one's been out for a little bit, and that one's like 4 hours. This one's probably about that long too. But you don't realize the time as you're watching it. You just kind of keep going. And for anyone who hasn't seen them, they go through each year and they pick out like 3 or 4 or 5 movies, and they show you clips, but then they interview a ton of the actors, directors, and people influenced by these movies. and then they kind of usually do little like intersperses in between each. So like this volume 2, they do like Tom Savini on Tom Savini, and then they do like Leanna Quigley on Leanna Quigley, and it's funny because we did us video game talk because they talked about old horror movie video games, and so that was fun. But it's really neat just to see what movies they pull out and they decide to talk about. I mean, obviously the first volume they kind of pull out the big hitters. This one they go a little deeper in the 80s and they pull out some more. A lot of Italian giallo are in this. That seems to be the big highlight, and then just some of the other random stuff that has come out. They talk a lot about the early 80s and how it kind of a lot of the exploitation stuff that came out kind of around then because of the influence of the 70s, which was interesting. But the thing I kind of want to dive into a little bit more is Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So they talk about that one. And if you've been following the story kind of behind the story on that movie for the last couple of years, or if you've seen the movie, I think it's Jesse's the main character in that. And kind of right from the start, the context of it is people thinking this is a story about coming out, and that Freddy is his kind of the impulse of coming out and saying that he is gay. Even though it's not in the movie, it's not explicitly stated in the movie, it's kind of this implied concept. Years ago, there was this huge documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street that goes through all of them, and they talk to everybody like that. And when they talk about the second one, that's kind of when they really explore that concept of like this movie, what this movie meant, and what it kind of does, what it meant for the outside world, and for a lot of people who are were afraid to come out, and they saw this movie and they kind of took it as a chance to come out, and then it kind of like blew up in a lot of drag scenes and everything like that. It was very interesting. But when they talked to the writer of this in this Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, the writer is like, I didn't put that in there. I don't know why people are thinking that. That's not what I was going for. Well, I think it's Mark Roper. I could be completely wrong, but the character that plays Jesse, the actor that plays Jesse, the main actor, he is also gay, and he talks about how this movie sort of ruined his life, because at the time it wasn't appropriate for actors to come out, and it kind of put a big X on their career. And so anyway, he was like, I don't know what the writer's talking about. That was in this movie, and this movie ruined me. So he came out with a documentary called Scream Queen, and it's all about that, how what happened to him at that time, and just kind of being an out actor in the 80s, and what that kind of meant for them. And then then he talks about now, and he brings in a lot of people that affected him, and he ends up in that documentary bringing in the writer and the director and all these people, and kind of confronts them about what happened. And it's very interesting. It's a great documentary, Scream Queen. Watch that. So anyway,
Scream Queen's really good.
Yeah, you have all of that for context. Go into volume 2 of In Search of Darkness, and they talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and this is like Robert Englund, because even during these documentaries, those older ones, he talks about it, but he's like he completely switches his tune in volume 2, and is like, oh yeah, we totally knew that was in there. We totally did it that way on purpose, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, my mouth just drops watching this, because I'm like, there's 2 other documentaries that talk about you didn't know this was in it. How can I'm like, now you're coming out and saying, oh no, I meant that. Everything in there was actually, we knew that was going to be that way. And I was just watching this, and I'm like, holy crap, talk about rewriting history and being able to see it all on film.
Wow. So he was kind of retconning himself.
Yes, 100%. Because it's like, and it's funny too, because it's like we could go back to those documentaries and hear him talk about like, well, I didn't know, Robert Englund saying like, I wasn't sure if that was in there. I don't think that was in there. And then like in the Scream Queen one, he sort of kind of leans on it and says like, well, maybe I was kind of doing this thing because I thought it would be this, but then in this one, he's like, oh yeah. And I'm just like, so I don't know if anyone else like listening have watched these and noticed all of this yet, but I was floored last night when I saw that. So
I'm just so jealous of you guys that you have Shudder because it's not available here in Iceland. And I'm like, I hate every single tweet that's like saying like, I am watching this on Shudder. It's so amazing. I'm like, fuck you guys.
Man,
I'm stuck with nothing.
That is a bummer. I wish it would go everywhere because it's a great thing to have.
Hopefully they get it over in Iceland soon.
Oh man!
Well, they have to I think they have to contact the European market or something like that because apparently Iceland is a part of Europe.
We talk about Shudder enough on here and review it. They really should be paying us promotional rates.
True.
I think so too.
And given all the times we've reviewed their stuff, they should just go ahead and make us their publicist. I think that should be official.
Well,
I wouldn't mind talking about Shudder every week.
Well, what we need to do is we need to tag them more. So
I guess
that's
so.
true. Yeah.
Well, we'll try to remember to tag them for this episode.
Definitely.
Give us money. Give us free subscription, something.
Yes.
And if you're listening, Shudder, great documentary. I really loved it. I'm only halfway through it. Like I said, they're both 4 hours long. And so, but it's an amazing thing for anyone who hasn't seen them, definitely, and has Shudder. Definitely check them out. They're great.
Didn't Shudder just put up the amusement park, the Lost George Romero movie?
They're going to. I don't know. Well, it'll probably be out when this airs. I think it's coming out in the middle or end of May.
Okay, I'm really excited to see that one.
Yeah.
Sounds like Shudder needs to contact Richard Gerlach and figure out some advertising segments here. So
our rates are reasonable.
Boost some subscriptions and get people
our rates
to watch.
are reasonable. It's like
our rates are reasonable.
We'll have to make up those rates first, but yeah, they'll be reasonable for you, Shudder.
Yes, they will be very reasonable.
Very reasonable. Villimey, what about you? Any recommendations from this last week?
Yes, I just finished last night reading Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca.
I'm in the middle of that right now. It
is intense.
Yeah.
That cover is fucking amazing.
It's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And
it just really draws you in.
Yeah.
It's both the cover and the title. It's just like, okay, I need to know what's happening here.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, and they should be getting a copy like right about now, it's basically about this email conversations and instant messenger conversation between two women, Agnes and Zoe. And they kind of reach out rather innocently at the beginning. Like Agnes is, for some reasons, looking for someone to buy from her an apple peeler. Like she's selling an apple peeler that belonged to her grandmother for some time. And Zoe reaches out and says she's interested, but at the same time she detects that there's something else behind why she is selling it. And they soon become really good friends. And then the relationship kind of develops into something a little bit more, and it also becomes more sinister. So I'm not gonna say too much of it, but every single time I was reading it out, I just when you see especially the instant chat conversation, you just see immediately oh my god, this is gonna get dark. This is gonna get so dark. Oh god, what's happening? Why are you doing this? And just the end blew me away. And I'm like, I immediately contacted Eric on Twitter. I'm like, Eric, what the fuck? and he was like, what? I'm like, it's amazing. What's wrong with you?
Who hurt you?
Right? Who hurt you? But it's awesome. So good. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to do a booktube review on it on my YouTube channel soon. So I'll probably be raving about it a lot more.
I need to hurry up and finish that book, but I'm loving what I've been reading of it so far.
I'm looking forward to getting that one. I love the pairing of that title and that image. It's perfect. It reminds me of that meme with the bloody bathtub that you're supposed to put your last text message with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But I also I found it so imaginative to just have it. It's just the entire story is just put through both instant messenger chat and just email conversations. It's just emails back and forth.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's a really intuitive format, but you get so much out of it nonetheless.
That sounds amazing. Yes, I mean I loved Starving Ghost in every thread, so I'm fully on board.
Though Herrick's a great writer.
Yeah,
he's a really great writer, and I think anything he puts forth is going to be amazing.
Yes, definitely.
I'll just go through my last two really quickly. I read Eden by friend of the podcast, Cullen Bunn.
Nice.
It is a horror one-shot. It's about 60 pages. And it's about a tattoo artist who's just doing, like, walk-in tattoos. A woman comes in, says her name's Eden, and asks him to freestyle draw her a butterfly. Like, tattoo her a butterfly. He has to draw it first, and she says, no, don't draw it. Just freestyle it on me. I've had many others. But she has no tattoos on her. So he freestyles her a butterfly tattoo. She loves it. She walks out. The next day she comes back. The butterfly tattoo's gone, and she wants another freestyle animal tattoo on her.
Okay.
And so he's kind of like, okay, this is weird. And so he does it. And at the same time, he's going through his own personal grief, where he's lost his wife and his daughter, and he's just drinking a lot and smoking a lot of weed, trying to forget them, as he's just working his mundane tattoo job. And this woman, Eden, and these disappearing tattoos, combined with his loss, begins to make his life spiral out of control. I won't say what happens to the tattoos, but let's say the climax of the comic is very shocking. And it's really fantastic. If you want a really good, like, kind of like slow burn horror read, I highly recommend it. And the reveal's just like a really great emotional gut punch. So, highly recommended. Loved it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, let's definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's only like $5 on Comixology, so it's not even that expensive. And then I decided to read a manga called Zom 100, which is about a zombie apocalypse. But the setup of the manga is it's about this like 20-something dude who gets a job working as a salaryman in Japan, and he's so excited to work for this company. He's heard lots of great things. 3 years later, they're working him so hard he can't even clean his apartment. Like, he's not getting sleep. The company's abusing him. He has a crush on a girl in his office who's fucking the manager. And one day he wakes up and the zombie apocalypse happens. And it's the first day of his life because he doesn't have to go to work anymore.
Amazing.
And it's just this dude living his best life in the middle of the zombie apocalypse.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I can totally relate to that. I'd be like, yes. I mean, no joke. Like, COVID, I know this pandemic has been deadly serious, but it's like I am dreading having to go back to the office. Like, I do not want to go like this. If we can just keep people unvaccinated and maskless so I can stay home, that'd be great. Let's spread this disease around a little bit more.
I won't even touch that. That's all Mike. You guys, everybody, that's Mike.
I mean, honestly, though, it's a deadly pandemic. It's a serious issue, but it has been great. Like, we went to a restaurant for the first time since December for our anniversary, and there was like nobody there. We didn't have to wait for a table. I mean, we had a reservation, but there was only like one other couple in the whole goddamn restaurant, seated like 20 feet away. Like, parking was fantastic. Traffic has been a breeze. This is great. I like it. I'm working at home. It's a good time. So I can relate 100% to this narrator who's like, the zombie apocalypse is, I don't have to go to work. This is great. I'm right there with you, man. I got you.
It's just really funny, and just the shit he gets into. Like, there's one part he goes he's climbing the wall and he sees his neighbors are there, and he's like, I'm going to go to the convenience store. You guys want anything? And they're just like, you're fucking crazy. And then they go, well, if you make it back, we would like some toilet paper and some other stuff. So he gets on this bicycle. He goes to the convenience store, and he just grabs one of those, like, hand cart things and fills it full of beer.
Nice.
And then he grabs some other stuff for the people. And then his bike gets stolen, and he gets sad. He's like, fuck, how am I going to get back now? The zombies are coming. And then he just steals a motorcycle. And he's like, yes, motorcycle, my dreams come true.
I love this guy. He's my hero.
My bike was stolen. Oh, crap. What am I going to do now about the zombie?
Now, see, like, my favorite comic book character was Batman. Like, if there was ever a comic book character to aspire to be, that would be Batman. But what you're telling me now is this guy is my new hero. This is the kind of character that I could become and realize finally my full potential.
The funny thing is, I can totally relate to him because the work culture in Japan is atrocious.
It's really bad. And the manga's like very critical of the work culture in Japan like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad there's gonna like a manga like that because I know sorry, I just sneezed just now, and I'm like, oh, god damn it, I need to suck up this snot up my nose. After I had studied Japanese and I had come back home from studying after my exchange program in Japan, a lot of people were asking me, like, why aren't you going back and why aren't you going to work in Japan? And I'm like, because the work culture is awful. I want to be able to work maybe 9 to 5 and be able to go home at 5 and not be pressured to go along with with the boss and some of the coworkers to go drink because I don't drink, and still be pressured to do that and still working till 11, maybe midnight, and then go home. Fuck that.
Yeah. No, like, that's not gonna happen.
The opening to the manga is like him watching a zombie movie on TV, and then he's like, shit, I gotta go to work. It's the first day at the company. And he goes in, he's so excited to work for the company, and he does his first shift, and he finishes, and his coworkers and his manager's like, hey, we're gonna go grab drinks after. Come with us. Yep. So he goes out, he has drinks, they drink, they talk, and then next thing there's like, oh, gotta go back to work. He's like, wait, it's early in the morning? Yep, it's work time. And he's back at work without even sleeping.
Oh,
yep.
God.
Because he's been drinking all night with his like manager and his buddies.
Jeez.
And like that's just what it's like there. And you can't say no. You gotta go.
You can't say no because you are supposed to be like, they have this group mentality thing that is so like ingrown into them. And if you say no, you're just basically shunned. It's a really cultish thing that they have.
Yeah. So like the manga definitely gets into that too, and like it's very playful with what it's doing, but it's very critical of a very serious issue that's happening over there.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I need to check out. I remember there was this one class that I took when I was in Japan. It was manga and society. Huh. So it was an amazing class. So basically, it was just we picked up some manga and we were reading about it, and then we held lectures, and the teacher was just discussing the difference of how it's portrayed in manga and the real issues that is happening in Japanese society. What I found really interesting was that the teacher herself, she was Japanese. And she really she told but there were also some Japanese girls in this class as well, and she was just blatantly telling them our culture sucks, our society sucks, and we need to do something about it. And if you can read something through it through manga, and if you can see if some of the mirror cracks from reading it, then I've done a good job.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that teacher. And it was probably the only time that I was like, "Can I do lectures?" And I think I did maybe one lecture every week, and people were like, "We hate you," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just have to talk about manga." So I was talking about Gantz, and I was talking about Attack on Titan and everything.
Gantz is fucked.
Yeah, I even showed them the one scene from Gantz when when they won against the aliens, and it was kind of like showing like the aftermath of war. Spoils goes to the winner. And I was actually just showing them the scene when they were raping this huge ass female alien, and I'm like, "Yep, this is what happens."
Oh my god! What?
Yep.
That is insane.
And they were like, "What? What are you reading?" And I'm like, "I'm reading real shit. What are you reading?"
Yeah, Gantz is fucked. That's all I'll say about that. Fucked. It's a wild ride. But all right, it's time for The Dark Side of the Room, not Rune, Room. Tyler Jones.
ROOM. That spells room.
Mike gets A for spelling.
Yay.
This book came recommended by Villimey. So why'd you pick this one for?
I picked this one because it was actually the first book that I read by Tyler Jones, and he was just at the time I think he had just released it, and he was looking for someone just to take a look and see how it was, and I was one of the first that did, and I was just blown away by his storytelling, and just how he made you second guess everything. That was what I just really noticed, especially with this story. I actually finished listening to Criterion just this morning. So he definitely has that storytelling going that you're always like, it has you at the edge of your seat the entire time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and we'll get into it, but especially once you kind of start getting to the end of Dark Side of the Room and you start realizing or you start seeing a little bit more of her memory room and what some of those things mean. Then you're like, oh, wait, what is happening in the beginning of this stuff?
Exactly. So you were just, at first you were like, oh, yeah, I know what's happening. And then, wait, no.
Yeah.
Oh, it is happening? And then, wait, what's this happening over time? What the hell?
Oh, my God. Yeah. I want to read Criterion. I love the cover. I know you shouldn't judge a book by the cover, but the cover is really neat on that. So I was glad that
covers sell books. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, if you have a shitty cover, you're probably not going to look any deeper.
Fair point. Yeah.
Note to all those indies still making their own covers in MS Paint and thinking you can charge $10 for this thing.
Oh.
Still a pro tip, FYI.
Good call. But yeah, no, I really dug this, and we can get more into it in a minute because it does touch on some things that I was like, oh man, that hits close to home. But the concept is like just perfect, and just even the setup at the beginning of this like weird person coming into this apartment complex or building was really neat, and then just the way he kind of layers things in and gives us a little bit more and more and more of everything without taking us out. I mean, we're pretty much like a single floor. The story focuses on very little like location, which I really liked because it really kind of keeps you contained and you're kind of trapped with everybody, even though like technically they're not trapped, but you get trapped. So yeah,
just the way it described the apartment complex is, it definitely feels like, oh, you're maybe in a prison.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, this is not a nice apartment building that they're left in.
No, this apartment building's pretty shit.
Yeah, I mean, half of it's been burnt down. So.
Yep. And it hasn't been like rebuilt or anything. They just put a tarp over it and like, we'll deal with it later. And people are like, when is later?
Yeah, the elevator doesn't work. So they've got to climb up 4 flights to get to their apartment that's down the hall from the boarded off corridor where the rest of the building has been burnt.
Yeah.
A fixer-upper opportunity.
So basic plot, Betsy is our main character and she lives in this rundown apartment building, and she right from the beginning we get a new neighbor who's this weird giant kind of sack of clothing that can't walk really well and she can't really see very much of this person.
He's very quiet though.
Yes, he's very quiet.
Having lived in an apartment, that is the kind of neighbor you want.
True. So then the basic idea is them trying to figure out who this person is, and then slowly what's happening on the floor of this apartment, because there's things happening. Betsy has cats, and she's got some neighbors. And
when you say she has cats,
you need to go a little bit into that.
I'm just glossing us through, but
we need a bit more here.
So, she is the definition of the cat lady. She has like a dozen of these things.
Yep.
Well, I love
and none of them are RoboCat.
None of them are RoboCat. I love that, like, the way it's our first taste that something is kind of off with Betsy. Is at first she's like, well, my 6 cats are here. And then she starts saying, well, now I got more cats. And then, like, the number changes, and you start going, like, especially when it gets dark, because the power goes out at one point, and she sees, like, I can't remember. It was like a set of 28 eyes, which doesn't add up to what she told us a little bit ago. And you're like, something is off here.
It's like even though we're in her mind, like we're in her perspective, she is like trying to cover for herself, or is maybe a little bit ashamed. Yeah. And that's why she's always, changing the numbers. Even when she's meeting with the neighbors, she's just like, oh, I have 4 cats. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, her mind isn't really a great place to be to begin with. She's a bit of a crackpot. So,
yeah. Yeah. So the whole I think that the concept of the title is she, in her memory, she has what she calls a memory room. And part of it is dark. And when the darkness kind of keeps growing. And when the darkness keeps growing, she forgets things. She doesn't remember her past.
You get lost in the darkness.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that was wishing for a Charlie Murphy segment about the darkness? Charlie Murphy! Oh my God. Darkness is spreading.
No.
Can't say that I did.
No, not at all.
Some Chappelle Show action would have been perfect in this.
And those Charlie Murphy segments were the best.
Oh, that was great.
Closest win.
Yeah. And then he made us pancakes.
So Betsy, she's older, and she's kind of at first she kind of describes her neighbors, you kind of realize that she's thinks she's a little bit of like a, your old bitty kind of neighbor who judges everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yep.
So she definitely has opinions on her neighbor, right next door neighbor on this floor, and then it slowly goes out to everybody. Though she likes the couple, Greg and Jeff, I think it was. She likes them because they are nice to her, I think.
Yeah.
So, but everybody else, either they all drink, which she does not like, or they all smoke pot, which she doesn't like.
Yeah.
So she has feelings about our neighbors, but very quickly we get a rat that one of the cats bring in, and she lets us know the 3 things she hates the most are rats, cockroaches, and spiders.
Yep.
Yep.
And I was a little nervous throughout the whole story that we were going to get spiders.
Or cockroaches. God damn cockroaches.
Cockroaches actually aren't that bad.
Yeah.
Coming from a place that doesn't have cockroaches, it is bad.
They are still gross. They usually don't pretend to clean spaces, so it usually means there's something nasty happening.
Yep.
And then there's that burnt out floor and burnt out half of the apartment, and then she's trying to figure out who this neighbor is. Nobody's seen her before. She moved into a person's, I can't remember the guy, Devin, or not Devin, because that's the other neighbor, but one of the neighbors' apartments that's no longer there. And I can't remember, did the guy like run, kill himself, get arrested? I guess it doesn't matter. The guy's not there anymore.
Yeah, I think she was describing as he basically just disappeared, and she comes to the conclusion that he might have, jumped or something like that.
Yes. So that the new neighbor, the new weird neighbor, is in that apartment, and nobody knows who this is. Then we get introduced to the super, who's this disgusting, lazy slob, And yeah, I mean, like, and then craziness ensues. We can go deeper into that, but that's basically the story.
Yep.
A lot more happens, but we'll get into that spoiler stuff in a second.
And this is a very focused character story on Betsy as well. So we're seeing everything through her perspective as it goes, and how like her perspective shifts and changes throughout the story.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be a pretty skewed perspective at times.
Yeah, very skewed perspective. I don't know. I liked reading it from her perspective, though.
Yeah.
I feel like gave the story a lot of mystery, and it gave the story an unsettling edge that, like, I was curious of what would happen next.
Yeah.
True.
I was just waiting for her to finally get attacked.
True. I especially because, you know, as we go further and she's, you know, starts talking about her memory room, that hit a little close to home for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I had a grandmother who was suffering from Alzheimer's, and I also have a grandfather who's suffering from Alzheimer's, and I was like, oh God, I hope this doesn't really end up like that.
Yes, I was thinking that too, because we start realize, like, we see stuff in her memory room and we see stuff in her apartment, like in the real world. So she's got a picture of her daughter, and her daughter doesn't want to see her anymore because she does. The daughter basically says Betsy doesn't want to get help. Betsy doesn't want to fix herself, and she doesn't want her around anymore. And then we get to start seeing this Alzheimer's thing where she has to go to a grocery store because she has no food, because she buys cat food.
Yeah, just for the cats.
But then when she gets to the grocery store, she like a sound will, like, you know, an announcement will happen, and she'll completely forget why she's at the grocery store, and then realize, oh, I need to buy cat food.
Yeah.
And so I like, at first we don't get much about her husband. I don't think we get anything about her husband.
Not much, no.
And so then when we jump into the memory room, that's when we start realizing, oh, the darkness is eating all of her memories, and she hates it. She doesn't want it to happen. Obviously, nobody would want that to happen, but, like, you know, it keeps moving closer and closer. And yeah, it was it did hit close to home. Same thing. Grandmother, who actually just passed probably about 2 months ago, she had it really bad, and being around it is very tough to witness. So, you know, reading this, it was just like, oh man, this is rough. And just to know what that is on the other side. It's hard to witness. And so you're getting this, and especially once we start getting near the end and she looks at a picture and she doesn't remember who's in that picture, it's just like heartbreaking. Even as all the weirdness is happening, you're still like, oh man, this is a tough story. And so it's that part I think he captures really well.
He did, yeah, he really did.
I agree.
You know, you're like sitting there and she's in her apartment and she's trying to remember certain things, and you're kind of like, man, just write it all down somewhere. Just have notes that will help you.
Like post-it notes.
Yeah, she has nothing, no notes, because she, like, that's the one thing is she seems to be very, like, self-reliant. She's like, I can do all of this, and
she's very proud. She's a proud woman.
Yes, so she doesn't. I mean, like, there's no mention of her even doing the note thing. I mean, and we see that with the daughter saying, like, you don't want to get help, and I can't be around this anymore. So you kind of see that, of course, she's not going to have notes because she doesn't want to do that. And her ultimate fear of going to get help is them putting her in a home. And she's like, that's not what she wants. So that's, you know, it was all of that. And once we kind of step more into the end, you'll get more of it. But that was tough. And so it was kind of fun to see when she was talking to the neighbors, because, you know, she could concentrate a little bit on what they were saying, but then her mind kept going back to this weird neighbor and, like, what that all meant. So it was good.
I also felt like it was more like it was a struggle for her to maintain her independence.
Yes.
And I feel like And I feel like at the end of the story, we kind of get she managed to win, but then something is clawing at the back of her head, and we're like, oh shit, she hasn't won anything.
Yeah, she she kind of gains that strength. We'll get to that in a second. So our weird neighbor, he is this. You can't he wears this dirty overcoat. You can't see his hands.
Can't see his face either, right?
It's like he has his hood over.
Yeah, so she can see a little bit, just to see that it's all scratched up and got sores on it, and his head flops back and flops forward, and one of his legs can't move, so he has to kind of drag it. I kept thinking of, and this might be a bit of a deep cut, but the movie Coraline. So
it made me think of that too.
The ringmaster.
Yep.
So, which actually is very apropos because of what happens at the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kept thinking of that guy because of just the way he was all floppy and weird. And just he only shows up a couple of times. It's she sees him in the lobby, and then after the grocery store, she sees him on the ground, face forward, I think. And then the way he rises up is filling up.
That was super creepy.
Yeah,
really creepy.
The pants go up first, and then the torso, and the arm. It's just
the way he described it, Tyler. I just immediately saw it in my head, and I'm like, nope, I would be noping the fuck out of there.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, that would be a good time to run like hell.
That is a not today Satan moment.
Yep.
So that was, I loved that. And then just, she sees him again. She's I think she's at her friend's house, right? She's at the neighbor, and they hear him coming up, and she looks, and she's like, man, his face looks different. But it's him. Because at first, so all of this stuff, and I don't jump in all over the place, but once we kind of start getting an idea of what this memory room is, and kind of get an idea of she's not remembering things, I was wondering if all those people were just figments of her mind.
True, yes.
All the neighbors.
I was thinking that too for a little bit.
I mean, so that's not it for everybody, but
yeah. But I was thinking just because I felt like we couldn't trust her memory.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, which of these people is real?
Yes. Yeah. So you're and that's why I kept wondering. I'm like, well, maybe they're all different parts of her, because the next door neighbor, Betsy doesn't like because she wears makeup and she's got high heels, and she works at this law firm, and there's only one reason why she's there at this law firm, and it's not good according to Betsy. But then when Betsy actually starts talking or listening, she spies on her and realizes, oh wait, no, she can stand up for herself. And then they start talking, and then she's like, oh, I like her now. And I was like, oh, maybe that's Betsy thinking about her younger self. And then the couple was her and her husband. And then the stoner guy was maybe her wild side. I don't know. But it doesn't matter.
That's a good way of, looking at it.
So I was like, maybe this is it. But then, no, it's not.
Yeah.
But, so I guess we can start stepping into the rats. There's lots of rats in this story.
Lots of cats and rats.
Yeah, lots of rats.
Oh man, she has this cat Shadow, who is a very sad.
That hit home hard, guys, because my cat's name is Shadow. I have 2 cats.
Oh wow.
So after I was done reading the story, I went searching for my cat and squeezed him hard, and he was like, "Wow, what's happening?" And I'm like, oh, shut up, I'm gonna hug you now.
Let go of me, you freak.
Yep.
My gosh, it's so true.
Just afterwards, I was like, no, because usually that's the thing with happen with me. I love horror, but as soon as I know that there are animals in it, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
one way or another, it's either gonna get injured or it's gonna die. And I'm gonna be sitting there bawling like a baby because even though it's fiction, I just connect way too hard to animals.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, it was rough. So Shadow is the one that brings in a dead rat at first, and that's when we discover her distaste of rats. And then she hears something, or no, there's a bunch of rats playing on her piano, and they shoo out her window, and then Shadow jumps out, and then I love this because the camera's not out there. We just hear noises, and we hear first the cat hissing, and we hear like the clinking, and then this weird barking sound, and then she sticks her head out, and just all these rats are on top of poor Shadow, which is was very rough. And these rats are very coordinated, coordinated. Oh my gosh. No. Yes. So that was rough, and that was like our start of the end game, because she finally can't take it anymore, and they get the whole fourth floor together to go confront the
landlord.
Yes. And they're like, you got a new neighbor, and the landlord's like, I didn't rent that to anybody. And so that's when they're like, oh shit, let's go find out who this person is.
Yep. And that's just really when shit hits the fan.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Like the climax of this book is like nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Because the way he was, kind of prepping us for the story, I felt it was more like a quiet horror.
Yeah.
It was like just, because you had this unreliable narrator, and, there were things happening in this spooky apartment complex. And then suddenly when you go to the climax, you're just giving this whammy, and you're like, fuck, what the hell's happening?
Yes. Yeah, I did not think it was going to go that way at all.
Me neither.
Me neither. Does a great job of bringing in the gore at the end with all these severed heads and rats that are eating their way into people's mouths and out their throats.
When she sees like the guy's head and the rats poking out of his mouth.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh
That's the thing. Like from the very first page, just this newspaper article that he put. Like the end of that chapter, the heads have not been recovered. I was like, ooh, snap, what's happening? And then finally at the climax, we see them, and I'm like, shit.
Yes. Oh my God. So yes, the rats are a person.
It's basically how you would put it.
I got to admit, that's kind of where it lost me.
Oh yeah?
Really?
Yeah, because when that reveal came up that this is just a bunch of rats wearing a trench coat and carrying around a severed head, it reminded me too much of Family Circus, and that's kind of when I checked out.
That's such
you remember those old comic strips?
Way of putting it?
Well, you remember those comic strips where like they would pretend to be adults, and like one kid would ride on the shoulders of the other, and they'd wear their dad's trench coat and put on the fake mustache. It's like that's what it reminded me of, except with killer rats.
Yep.
And I kind of couldn't take it seriously after that, although I absolutely loved the gore. But the last thing I want to think about when I'm reading about killer rats is fucking Family Circus.
Oh my God. Yeah. I loved it, but yes, I could see where that, because it does come a little out of left field, where you're just like, wait, what's happening? These rats are, but it's awesome. And like I said, thinking of Coraline, even before I got to the end scene, and then when you get to the end scene and you're like realizing that the two are very similar in this concept of rats in this body. I was just like, and it's not even a body, it's just rats in a suit that they're like holding a head. Which then
it was such a you did not expect that at all. You were just the whole time thinking like, oh snap, you probably got a serial killer waiting up here for you guys, and you're just gonna go up there with an old lady, one woman wearing heels, two gay men, and a badass landlord. You don't have a chance. And then he's just like, nope, the rats. What the fuck?
Yes. Oh my God, yeah, it's just this like craziness, because they go into this unoccupied apartment, and they find the stoner's head there, and then the man is like in the corner, and then he melts into all these rats, and the rats just like eat everybody.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a blast to see those rats tear through these tenants.
Yeah, and literally tear through them. Eviscerated the tenants.
Oh, they go completely bonkers. These are some very rabid rats.
Yeah, and it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
insane. But for some reason, yeah, they leave Betsy alone,
because she's covered in cat hair.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. They smelled cat on her.
Oh, that makes more sense. Because I did not realize
the cat
that.
hair kept her safe.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I guess that makes sense why she grabbed it later on. Okay.
Yeah. She starts scrubbing herself down with her cat.
Yep.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine Crazy Cat Lady from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
She's washing her armpits with the cat, getting the hair in there.
Yep.
Cat deodorant.
Amazing. That is so funny.
Trying to diffuse the dread that comes out of the story.
Well, and I kind of skipped over talking about her gaining kind of her independence, is because I was wrong. They go into Stoner's apartment first, I think, and they can't.
Yeah, they go into the Stoner's apartment first.
Yeah.
That's when they realize there's like a hole into the other place.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rats have made a hole into the burned down section of the building.
Yeah, and so she just storms right in and starts banging on the door of the unoccupied apartment, and I was like, oh, she's kind of finally stepping up and gaining control of herself. But then that's when all the rats come, and then that's when the big reveal, spoiler alert, we realized she was the one to burn half the apartment down.
Yeah, because she saw spiders there.
Yes. And that's when
she hates spiders.
Yeah.
So
she doesn't like rats either.
Nope.
it's just so funny. She who knew she was going to be a pyro? She's like, I'm just going to start a little fire, and then she's like, oh, it went all the way up. That's cool. I'm not going to tell anybody. And then she's like, well, I'm going to take care of these rats the same way.
Yep.
I didn't know she liked fire so much.
I mean, if you know a method is good, then you just stick to that method.
Yeah,
exactly.
She's all armed up. She's Rambo, ready to rock. She goes into that apartment. She goes down
the bandana around her forehead.
Got bandoliers of linseed oil and lighters, and she just goes into this dark tunnel full of rats, and then the rats morph into this giant thing and kind of talk to her.
Yeah. Got a rat king controlling them.
And she lights that one on fire too.
She just starts eviscerating the rats with the fire.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
She gets goes Ripley at the end of Aliens on the rats.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. She went full Ripley.
She had the Wayland Yutani mech arm suit. Angry to fight that queen rat.
Get away from her, you bitch.
And that works because she finds Shadow's collar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God.
And I think that really helped fuel her rage even more.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
you took my cats, I take you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And she they chase because that fire's not gonna kill all of them, and then they sit on her chest, and she gets a moment of clarity. Well, and double clarity, because the shadow goes away in her memory room, so she can remember everything. And I guess right before that, because I'm jumping around a lot, we realize her husband left her.
She's been saying he's dead this whole time, but just dead to her because she wouldn't get help, so he ended up leaving her.
I was trying to remember that. Did she talk about her husband at the beginning of the book? I didn't even think he was mentioned. Oh.
No, at the beginning she mentions her dead husband.
Okay.
Her husband's dead. Her daughter doesn't want anything to do with her.
Okay.
But we find out both the daughter and the husband have left her because she refuses to get the help she needs. And she's not really somebody that we should be celebrating all of this independence that she finds, because she really needs help.
Really badly needs help.
She has committed arson on this building twice over and nearly killed herself and everybody in the building now. And she's finally gets checked into this home that can provide her the care that she needs, and she starts hearing the cockroaches.
God,
which is her big number 3 scare. So, that place isn't going to be around for long.
That's
Pretty
true.
soon she's going to be lighting up all these retirees.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The old folks' home's going to have a hot time tonight.
Oh yes, they will.
Nice Joker. Nice.
It's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight.
Way to bring it back. So
You're a vicious bastard, Ritelli, and I'm glad you're dead.
oh my god. So questions.
Yes. How much of this was actually real or just in her crazy, demented head?
Yes. Like why? What? Because I just flipped back through the rat. Like eventually, like the Rat King kind of like sits on her chest and says, "Here and now," which I was trying to figure out what that meant, and just the fact that these rats were all clommed up into this giant thing and could form a human shape. I was trying to like figure out, was that just, what was that?
I think that is Betsy being a very unreliable narrator and
Yeah.
imagining a whole lot of this shit going down.
Okay.
It also could have been like she was like at a crossroads, like the Rat King is basically saying, "This is where you are right now. You're not in your head anymore. You're facing me, and you need to deal with that."
I think given the unreliable nature of her and her having dementia and with how judgmental she is, I think she's the serial killer that's been collecting all these homeless people's heads.
Whoa, you really expect like she has a lot of strength, don't you?
Well, I mean, she's probably just targeting like the weak homeless people that haven't eaten in weeks. She's the target of opportunity. You just sneak down to Tent City.
Though? What about Devin, though? I mean, he's not that weak.
He was probably stoned out of his mind, and she just lopped his dome off.
Interesting theory.
I like Mike's theory.
I would buy it if we had some sort of comment say like the piano was always like one key was never working because it was missing a piano line.
Well, it was
wire.
covered in poo. She probably shit all over her piano.
It wasn't covered in
She was going to blame it on rats.
One moment it was covered in poo. It was always covered
shit
in
all over the keys.
Yep.
That was one scene.
She had a mental break and shit on her piano, and then got the landlord involved, and he was like, "Oh, this ain't right. This is bad." Like, yeah, we got to go check out this apartment you rented it out to. He was like, "I didn't rent it out to anybody." Like, all right, well, now we got to go down the hall and figure out what's going on because crazy Betsy's leading us on another wild goose chase. And oh, look, she killed Devin.
So what you're saying is that she might have like a multiple personality.
I'm saying she is a geriatric serial killer who can't be trusted.
Sure.
First it was spiders, then it was rats, and now cockroaches. This is more than just a coincidence that
She's not going to
these
stop
things that
until
she
they're
doesn't
all
like.
dead.
Yeah, and then when she's done with the cockroaches and kills all the other old demented people at the retirement home, she's going to figure, oh, you know what else I hate is like ants. I hate ants. And just so happens there's a whole bunch of ants in this building.
Flies. I'll just kill everyone.
Now she'll be in prison. And was like, you know what? I really don't like ticks. It just so happens there's a whole lot of ticks in this prison.
Oh my
then
god!
She's going to be like, shivving people in the showers and making matches out of their bones and figuring out how to set the sheets on fire.
Just like
Start a prison riot.
Do you think she could make a match out of a bone?
I think she's going to try. And then she'll escape from prison and probably run for presidency and get elected. And then, like, the cockroaches are back. Got to fire all the nukes.
Maybe we read the different story. Maybe I read the wrong book because I don't.
I hope Tyler is going to listen to this and his head is just going to be spinning.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the sequels that Tyler could be taking this.
Yes.
There's more that could go on in this story. There's a lot of room that he could add. He could build like a whole Betsy Lupino cinematic universe.
And then at one point, Betsy in space.
Yeah. There you go.
Now she's got to fight like alien flies from Venus.
She can fight the xenomorphs. She doesn't like xenomorphs.
She could.
Yep. What the bugs in? What was it called again? Can't remember the movie. Starship Troopers.
Yes, the bugs from Starship Troopers.
Yep.
Yes.
The new drill sergeant teaching them how to kill bugs properly.
She's going to do her part. You bet your ass she will.
She wants to vote, so she's going to kill all the bugs.
Yeah. For America.
I love this.
That would be quite the movie, but
I hope you're taking notes, Tyler.
We've got this all figured out.
I did not see that coming.
You know, Mike, you know what this reminds me of?
That
joke.
Not a very close reader. It doesn't get subtext. Is that what this reminds me of?
Yes. I was also going to say the joke of how what's his face pitched Aliens. Wow, I'm blanking on his name. Directed Aliens. James Cameron.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You hear about the joke how James Cameron pitched Aliens?
Well, how did James Cameron pitch Aliens, Rich?
Well, this is not really how I pitched it, but this is the joke. He's in a room with executives. He takes the word alien, writes on the whiteboard, then writes an S and makes a dollar sign.
Nice.
You're kidding me.
No, that's not really what he did. But it's a funny joke.
But it worked.
It worked because it's franchising, baby.
Yeah.
So that's what needs to happen here. Dark Side of the Room 2. It gets darker.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Room 2. The darkness spreads.
The darkening.
The darkening.
Dark harder.
Dark harder.
The darkest side of the room.
Oh, boom! There we go.
Nailed it.
Oh, I love it.
Boom.
But anyway.
In all honesty, this is a really great horror novella, I felt.
Yes.
It was good. It was pretty solid.
Just not enough killing for you.
Yeah, basically, I did like it. I think once they finally got to the gore is where it really started to get my interest.
Yeah.
But then it's just rats in a trench coat carrying a head kind of took it down a notch for me. There were also, at least in my copy, I don't know if the Kindle edition has been updated since originally published, but there were a lot of errors that took me out.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of them.
There were a lot of missing words or words that were transposed. She was talking about one of the cats and then the name changed within the sentence, and I wasn't sure if that was a deliberate choice or something that was reflective of Betsy's mental state or if it was a legit error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just those kinds of things kind of take me out. So
it could be one of all three.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. But then other areas where it's just like missing words, like Betsy gag reflex triggered again. Like it should be Betsy's gag reflex. Or like
very nitpicky, all right.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I know, but it isn't like Killer Flies.
Yeah, it is. It is like that.
No, it's not.
But, I mean, like another one was like Betsy slammed the door shut. Like that.
Yeah.
Those things do take me out of it when it's a good story that's otherwise.
Yeah.
It pulls me out of it, you know?
I hear you.
It's like I'm chugging along and then all of a sudden my brain stumbles and it takes me a minute to recover from that. And those kinds of errors for me do drag down the narrative.
Yeah, that's fair. I hear you. It was in there a little bit more than I've noticed in other things. I mean, again, besides Killer Flies, but in this one, it happened quite a bit, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's something that just another round of proofreading could resolve pretty easily.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, for me, it does come down to those little nitpicks.
Yeah, that's fair. You can pick all the nits you want.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say I was an easy judge.
I mean, that could be your third dark room book is about nits. So
it could be.
It could. Hey, you never know.
Oh, she's got to go off against bed bugs. I think that's going to be a fun one.
Ooh.
Even fire at that point will kill those.
She's going to get like nitroglycerin.
Maybe we should just move on from fires and just start using acid.
Yeah. God. Then she forgets where she put it, and it gets into a terrible thing.
That's the machine gun Lupino coming to save the day.
But anyway, yes, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, I mean, we said that it hit home in some spots. The ending, I loved it being out of left field, though I did wonder if that, like, I kept trying to figure out if that was him trying to be a little, I don't know, whatchamacallit, like it was all a little bit of a metaphor, but like, I don't know. I was trying to figure it out, like looking for what that all meant, maybe a little bit too hard. But I still loved it. I still loved the ending, so that's not me complaining. That's me picking nits as well. So, yes, it's a good one. Definitely.
Yeah, I highly recommend this book. I had a great time with it.
Yeah. I mean, to its credit, I think Jones knows exactly what his story is meant to be, and he executes it well.
Yes, I agree.
But, you know, I did have some issues with it, although I did ultimately like the book.
Yeah, which is understandable.
I mean, yeah, there's always going to be something that you know, not going to enjoy, but overall, it's a really good book.
Yeah,
totally.
It's a very cool concept, and I did appreciate that we have this lead character that is suffering from mental health issues.
Yes.
Which isn't something we see all that often or executed well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And usually they just kind of take a cheap stereotypical route through it.
Yep, and just, you know, go the crazy route, usually.
Yeah, and they all of a sudden, they've got a mental health disorder. Let's write them like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, where you just start off crazy and then become batshit. Like,
Yeah, I think the concept of the memory room was great, and just that shadow growing and eating things. I thought that was really cool. I mean, like, I loved and heartbreaking when she saw Shadow in there and then saw the darkness kind of taking it. I was like, oh man, that's just a way to twist a knife.
Yep.
So,
like I said, after that, I was like, okay. And then just, where are you? And then he's just sleeping, and I'll just be, no, you just come to mommy, and you're just gonna lie here in my lap, and you're just gonna suffer through these hugs.
So this was an awesome book. Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah,
I agree.
Thank you,
I mean, any time to, you know, bring anyone's attention to Tyler Jones's writing, because he's getting a new book soon. It's called Almost Ruth, and Gemma M.R. She did the cover for it.
Yeah, the cover's amazing on that book.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
So I'm super excited to see what he's going to bring in that story.
And for listeners of the podcast, Tyler Jones is actually going to be on the podcast in a few weeks.
Hello.
Awesome.
Yeah, thankfully he won't have heard this episode.
Not yet.
He's gonna start with, Mike, I got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah. Well, he's just gonna cancel. He's just gonna not show up. He's gonna ghost us, and we'll just be sitting around here waiting for him. And he's just like,
he's just gonna ghost you.
Yeah, he's gonna ghost us if he. So that's why we have these time delays, right? So we can get the interviews before we release the episodes.
Yes.
That's why we did it.
Yeah. So we're talking about his story today. It'll release in July. We'll have him on the show in May, and that'll come out in August. It'll be great.
It's going to be great.
And then you'll wonder, why did I hate these guys again? Oh, that's right. This dumb thing. Why did I do this show? Now they expect me to promote them and a bunch of horseshit. I'm not retweeting this. This is bullshit. I'm not retweeting this.
Oh, I love it. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm just going to block all three of them.
And also next week we're going to have Steve Stredd and David Sodengren on to talk about their collaborative book, The Navajo Nightmare.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Before they block us.
Which so far I'm about halfway through The Navajo Nightmare, and it's a really great horror western.
It is. I started reading this thing last night, and I am 20% of the way through. And I am shocked at how fucking brutal this thing is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They just go all in.
Yeah. Sodegren, his segments, his first few chapters here is just, there's no holding back. Like, he is going straight into the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Ooh. Okay, I need to get a copy of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
cool.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I haven't read that many like horror westerns, so
Oh, you don't need to. This will be a great introduction.
Exactly. So I'm definitely gonna get a copy of that.
And I will say too, like the splatter westerns that have been getting really popular.
Yeah.
I've tried a couple of them, and neither of them really worked with me very well.
Which one were that?
I've tried a couple of them, but I'll try more.
Yeah, I've read a couple and I really dug them. So, I mean, different strokes.
This feels more like a regular Western with horror elements that kind of gets a bit more brutal as it goes. Where the splatter Westerns kind of felt a bit over the top.
Okay.
Would you guys say that like it has like it's reminiscent to the Hateful Eight?
I'm kind of thinking a little bit of Unforgiven.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd say I'm getting Unforgiven vibes from this book too.
Yeah, which I think anytime you can get Unforgiven vibes, you're doing good.
Which
yeah,
Unforgiven's like the last great Western movie, so
yeah, I agree.
Although it's kind of funny, right? Like I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 this week, so I've been kind of ensconced in Westerns these last couple days. But I'm reading this book, and I take a pause, and I decide I'm going to play some Red Dead before bed. And I find the first part of a serial killer's message that's at work in the Old West here.
Oh, yes.
And there's
parts of Red Dead.
There's this severed body that's just like the torso. The arms are splayed out as he's hung from a tree, but like his head has been decapitated, and the lower half of his body is missing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
Yep. So it's just this torn up torso hanging from two trees, and like intestines and blood are all over the ground. And on the rock, written in blood, is like, "See my works."
I love it.
Holy
I'm
shit.
like, okay, I got to follow the rest of this thread for this part of the game.
That thread's wild. It's one of the best parts of the game.
So going back and forth between that and Navajo Nightmare, my little gory goblin brain is very, very happy right now.
Yeah. Well, you enjoy those. And Villimey, where can our listeners get in touch with you at?
I'm most active on Twitter, so if you guys want to just hang out with me, I'm probably going to be online just right about now, even on work. You can bother me at work. That would be just great. I need the distraction from all the goddamn boring ass customers.
And you have a YouTube, right?
I do have a YouTube, yes. I started doing like book reviews on YouTube in January, and it's called Fanged Pipsqueak Reads, because I'm a little pipsqueak and I have fangs. And I read.
So if you're listening, go give her a follow if you haven't already, or subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already.
Yes, definitely.
And what do you have? What do you have new coming out?
Well, I just published a short story called The Banquet.
Yes.
Yeah, really good.
We need more in that realm.
I'm so happy to hear that. Because I had so much fun writing it.
Oh, it was a blast. If I can give you a little nudge for the next part, more gore. You need to be more splatter. We need more blood.
Here we go.
Well, I am toying with the idea of maybe doing like a short story collection within that realm.
Yeah. Don't hold back. Give us the extreme.
Yeah. I can fuck with that.
I will never hold back on the extreme, guys. That's what I live for.
We need more metal pair action.
Guys, I've read I beta read a new story from Villimey, and she doesn't hold back.
Awesome. I loved the banquet. I want more metal pair action in the next
Yes.
All the gory details.
Maybe I'll do like an origin story for the pair of Vanquish.
Yes. We need more.
So yeah, it's a short story that I made that is basically a revenge torture story about sexual assault survivors who are invited to a secret annual event called the Banquet. And in this annual event, they are basically given the opportunity to exact vengeance upon their attackers. And they get to do that in the most brutal, torturous way.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can find that story on smashwords.com, and all the proceeds that go into will go into a charity called Steelmot. It's an Icelandic charity that helps victims of abuse, and I've now collected about $35, so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. So I'm just it's going to be like a continuous thing. So I'm not going to stop after one month or anything like that. So just all the proceeds from that story will go to Steelmot.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Also released now at the end of March, the third book of my vampire horror series, Nocturnal Salvation.
Yes.
So we're continuing on with with Leia's adventures from what happened in Nocturnal Farm in Amsterdam, and this basically takes her just all over the place. She is now trying to find a cure for what's happened in Nocturnal Farm. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but she is going to what I can kind of allude to is there's going to be a pub brawl in London. And then she's going to go back home to the United States, but not to Anchorage. She's going to go to Atlanta.
Ooh.
Hotlanta.
So she has like this feeling that the cure is going to be there.
Awesome.
Cool.
I love that series, so I love it all.
Hey, I'm happy to hear that.
I have them up on my Kindle, so I'm going to get to them soon.
They're so good. You'll love it.
No rush, man. No rush. I'm not, pushing people to read it. If they have time to read it, then I'm just happy with that.
And Matt, where can listeners get in touch with you?
I am on Twitter at BrandenburgDM.
And Mike?
They can find me on Twitter at MikeH5856 or head over to Amazon, look me up at Michael Patrick Hicks, and buy some damn books.
And you can find me on Twitter at Rudy53088, where I blame Grand Theft Auto on all of society's problems. Or I blame all of society's problems on Grand Theft Auto, I should say. And by the time this episode is out, my debut story is going to be in an anthology called Dark Words, Tales of Urban Legends and Folklore.
Yes.
And I hope you all read it, and I look forward to hearing the reviews, both good and bad reviews, because I'm a big boy and I can take criticism.
You mean you're not going to lose your shit if somebody 4 stars?
Oh, dude, come on. Just 4 stars. Just round up, dude. just round up.
I mean, it's no bone meal, so.
Love that bone meal.
Love that bone meal. And this is Richard Gerlach saying, keep staring.
Project Entertainment Network presents You Gotta Be Kidding, debunking today's modern myths, with hosts, speculative fiction writers Skip Novak and Tom Clark, Bigfoot, Elvis, Illuminati, JFK, New World Order, Flat Earth, Reptilians, all popular modern conspiracy theories, all complete bullcrap, and we'll tell you why.
You gotta be kidding.
A patron-exclusive podcast for Project Entertainment Network.
It's all lies, every word of it. This has been a presentation of the Project Entertainment Network.